Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, across all platforms. This is the Gaming Tangents Podcast. Yeah. Woo. We still got to work on that excitement.
Yeah.
Maverick,
Woo.
come on.
Everybody, put your hands in the air.
Yeah. Oh, now you're working the crowd.
Yeah.
Getting them hyped up.
Wave them like you just don't care.
That's right. You've managed to stumble them to the Gaming Tangents Podcast, the official podcast of the cross-platform show, a soon-to-be YouTube smash hit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's coming, folks. Yes, we are the official podcast of the cross-platform show. Here we talk about all sorts of interesting topics. No, we don't. We don't ever do that.
Not
this
at all.
is a discussion podcast where we talk about gaming's past, present, and future, and try our best to stay on topic for as long as we can. I'm Menji.
And I'm Maverick.
How's it going?
It's going. Just living life.
Life. Yes.
Yeah.
The ever meaningful life. Have you been playing anything lately?
Take a wild guess.
Is that a large no?
I'm still doing Super Mario Maker, dude. I'm already building.
Oh my gosh.
I'm building World 5 right now.
I love your commitment. You're making a whole game now?
Yeah, I already have 4 worlds.
So you're trying to go for 8? Is that your goal?
Yeah, I kind of made it kind of like it's all original Super Mario Brothers levels, and I kind of did the midway because one of the sprites you can use, they added like a Bowser Jr. sprite and it looks really funny for the original Super Mario Brothers. So I made them like I made it so that where the 4th level isn't always the castle. And the castle actually appears in the 4th world, so it's a little bit interesting, but you also have to download it and set it up so that it plays like a Super Mario game, and you have to do each world individually. So
yeah, I was about to ask.
Yeah, it's a fun idea. It's just not executed very well, but I still enjoy playing it.
So you can't make like playlists yet?
Well, you can make a playlist. It's just like if you wanted to make an entire game, you kind of have. It's kind of left to the imagination because you have a set where you can make worlds 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can play through all those, and then it'll take you back to the core spot screen, and then you have to select the second world and whatnot. You can actually have up to 32 worlds.
Oh, okay.
And they can all be based on you can mix and match too. You can do Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario, right. And the interesting thing about it is that they have sprites for enemies that were not in the original Super Mario Brothers, so like the bombs and wigglers and all those. And then they have airship and ghost house levels too, and I mean that goes for all of the versions of the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a
I'd
little
like to see
interesting.
8-bit Ghost House.
Yeah, and it has some really neat music too. At least the Super Mario Bros. 3 Ghost House music is actually can be a little creepy. But they
had Ghost House in that game, didn't they?
No, it wasn't until Super Mario World.
Oh, so they had Boo, but no Ghost House? Yeah. Okay.
And then Super Mario Brothers, the Ghost House music for that sounds kind of kooky. It's that not really wacky music, but it sounds kind of like a goofy tune. Oh, yeah, right. and yeah. So it's a nice little spin on the game. And then the other game I actually got back into playing Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. For PlayStation 3. I've actually started playing that over break. My son was here and we spent 2 weeks together, and I showed him Kingdom Hearts, and I didn't want to go through I showed him the opening, but I really didn't want to go through the Roxas parts.
Oh, yeah.
Because that part bores the hell out of me. So after I showed them the intro and I played day one of the whole game with Roxas, I kind of switched to where I actually was in the game, and I've actually progressed all the way to the point where you had to fight the 1,000 Heartless.
Ooh, sneaky.
Yeah, well, for my son, it's we're at the Tron level, the Space Paranoids.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the Space Paranoids, he left, so I saved a spot there for him. So when he comes back, he can continue the story. But I went ahead and made a second save, and I've been working from there.
Nice.
Yeah,
smart.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing here lately, and more Kingdom Hearts lately than Super Mario Maker, just because I haven't touched my PlayStation in a while.
Yeah, I gotta pop those in at some point. I just got too much on my plate.
Well, understandable.
Yeah.
I had a week break, so I had the time.
Oh, see, that's the thing I'm missing there.
Yeah, and I had to add other important things, kind of kind of cross-platformy things to work on, but most of my time was devoted to my son.
No, that's fine. Perfectly legal. Perfectly legal fun.
Yeah.
I have been doing a lot of cross-platformy stuff, and that's eaten away a lot of my time. But it's cool, because I'm basically just going back and playing a bunch of old video games.
Nice.
So it's fun. And now I get to record myself playing them. So first time doing all the capture stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, that's something I need to figure out with the PlayStation 4.
Yes, please, if you could. That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. Although, there's a specific game I would like to get footage of, but unfortunately it's on PlayStation 3 unless I subscribe to PlayStation Now, which I really don't want to do.
Yeah, so far not seeming like a great deal.
No, not really. So
I had high hopes, too.
I've never liked subscription-based gaming. When I say that, I mean like this Netflix type thing. If you remember, and I think I have a little bit of bitterness towards it since Sega Channel way back when. If you remember that.
Did you actually have that?
I did not. My bitterness came from the fact that I wanted Mega Man the Wily Wars.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I figured that's what this was.
Mega Man the Wily Wars. It did not come out here in America because they wanted it on the freaking Sega Channel. And I was so pissed. So pissed that I wrote EGM and it actually made it into one of the EGM magazines. And they spelled my last name wrong.
Oh, yeah, they do that. We're all used to that. Oh, my gosh. First world problem, signed me.
Right? So, I don't know.
You see, kids, we used to have magazines on paper. And if you wanted to leave any comments, you'd have to actually write a letter and send it to them in the mail with a stamp. Yep. Then if they liked your letter enough, they would retype it onto their magazine, and you'd see it a few months later.
Well, you know what the worst part about that was? Is I was supposed to win some wireless controllers from Acclaim. They never sent it to me.
For just for getting published?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think I remember that, too.
I remember the response, too. We wish we could help you, but at least you got a great prize.
Fantastic writing from the folks at EGM.
I know, right?
Yeah. I don't know why magazines are gone. That might be why.
I have no clue. Probably has to do with this new thing called the Internet.
Yeah. That's where we thrive. I have managed to find some time to finally pop in Fallout 4, though.
And
it's been fun. I gotta say, I really like it. I know a lot of people are kind of ragging on it lately, but most of that seems to be the fans of the previous games, which I'd never played.
I see.
So I don't know what that's all about, and I kind of don't care because I'm just kind of having fun. Just running around shooting people.
So then you're enjoying it. So to the casual gamer, it could be fun.
Yeah, man, if you've never played a Fallout game before and the idea of like this post-apocalyptic RPG shooter-ish type game seems appealing to you, I say try it out. It's totally fun.
Yeah, they I've never played a Fallout game before. I've never been interested in the Fallout series. I remember working at Toys R Us when was it Fallout 3 was out, and they had the special lunchbox, and I almost thought about picking it up, but like it was still like high priced and whatnot. So yeah, it was pretty it was pretty I was like, it was pretty expensive, and I was just like, nah, forget it. And plus, there was a point where I was just buying games just to buy them, because my God, I had so many games that I had to get rid of, and I'm like, holy cow, I bought this. I think at one point I had like a game called Brink, and I only bought it because it was on clearance for like $4.
Wow.
So yeah, I had a serious gaming problem.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Well,
the first step to recovery is admission, so I'm glad. You can say that.
Yeah,
to the millions and millions of listeners we have out there.
Yep, I stopped melting the game packs and injecting them into my veins. So
good. See, that's real progress. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Man, PlayStation 2 era was kind of like that. I think I bought a ton of games that I still haven't played.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I remember at one point having over 100 PlayStation 2 games. I remember telling this to my sister, and she flipped out because I had lost my job. And she's like, "You have that many games and you're out of a job?" And I'm like, "Whoa! I had the job when I bought all these games. Then I got laid off." And the funny thing was that I had a PlayStation 3, so how I ended up with so many PlayStation 2 games, well, aside from the fact that I did work at Sony for a while, how I ended up with over 100 games is beyond me. But I remember...
No, complete secret.
Yeah.
No clue.
When I finally played two games during... that time, after I lost my job. One was Dead Rising, which I loved to death. It's one of my favorite games of all time. One of the only Xbox games where I managed to get almost every achievement except 2. So I got the secret achievement in that game. Yeah. There was that game and Metal Gear Solid 4. Which was amazing, and I would love to get Metal Gear Solid 5, but I really want that limited edition one, which is like almost...
Stop whining about the limited edition already.
I want the limited edition one. It's $250 though.
Good lord.
I think that's double the price that it's supposed to be.
For the game? No, I'm pretty sure it's much cheaper than that.
Well, for the game itself, but everything that comes with it. It's one of those, well, you know what? Now that I think about it, and I always forget this, it's that consistency thing. I got the special edition Metal Gear Solid 3. I got the special edition Metal Gear Solid 4. But then I forget that I accidentally sold part of my special edition Metal Gear Solid 3. So... yeah, now that I think back on it, it's kind of pointless. Maybe I'll just go get the game once I have the money.
Your mission to be a completionist has failed.
Yeah,
good job.
Much. I always forget that part.
That's okay. I look at my DVD collection and think the same thing. Why did I buy so many of these crappy sequels? Oh, because they were all part of the same series.
Yeah, well, you have Mulan 2 and Cinderella 3 in there.
No.
No.
I may have Attack of the Clones, though, which I stare at it and go, why are you here?
Okay,
I knew better than to buy those. Give me some credit, sir.
Okay, I'm one of those people who like 2 of the 3 movies in the original Star Wars trilogy. Not the original, excuse me, the prequel Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, well, this is going to get into a whole conversation, but we could talk about this because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, as one does when you have nothing else better to do with your time.
Right. I liked Phantom Menace.
Okay.
I'm one of the few who like Phantom Menace.
This is where we're going to go.
Gonna get a lot of... yeah, pretty much.
We're going to go here.
And I'm one of the few people who like Jar Jar. I'm not gonna lie. I like Jar Jar Binks. I did not...
Very far and few between.
I did not see a problem with him. I can understand why a lot of people didn't like him, but I personally did not have an issue with him.
Yeah.
And then I hated Attack of the Clones because it was supposed to be a love story, and it was a bad love story.
Shakespeare in the Park.
And pretty
That's what
much.
I call it.
I think
Shakespeare in the Park.
I think Final Fantasy VIII had a better love story, and everybody knows how I feel about Final Fantasy VIII's story.
Oh, God.
And then Revenge of the Sith, which I think is the best of the prequel trilogy. But there are I watched it after, because I just recently saw Force Awakens, great movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Spoilers, great movie.
Yeah.
That's the spoiler.
There you go.
Gotta put one of those out there. If you're gonna say Star Wars, you gotta put spoilers on there. People will shoot you.
I had just gotten started, just gotten done watching Force Awakens, and then I was in a mood to watch Revenge of the Sith. So
words that have never been spoken by anybody else in the world, but go ahead, continue your story.
Well, my reason for that is because I was borrowing this box set, which for some reason said original trilogy, and 2 of the DVDs were part of the prequel trilogy. And I had seen Star Wars so many times.
That's the George Lucas special edition packaging.
Right.
Where he tricks you into watching this whole movie. So that reminds me, I got a story we need to get back to after you're done. Continue.
Okay. So, having watched Force Awakens, I can't remember. Anyway, having watched The Force Awakens, yes. I'm watching episode 3. He relied way too much on the CG. Holy cow.
Oh, all 3 of the movies, but yeah, that one especially. Like, they just progressively went worse and worse and worse.
That scene where Obi-Wan is fighting General Grievous, like, watching the DVD on a PlayStation 4, which is a Blu-ray player, on a high-def TV, you could tell that they're not, those backgrounds aren't real. And I appreciated that about Force Awakens, that everything felt organic.
Oh yeah, that was very intentional.
Yeah, everything felt organic. And so I can see why part of the reason, I understand a lot, but I can see that as being part of the reason why the prequel trilogy didn't do so well, because it just didn't feel authentic.
And they're just going to keep declining as technology in TVs and stuff goes up. You're going to notice more and more how fake it looks as time goes on. Like, we're already starting to notice it.
Oh yeah,
but
no, it's
so.
I was just watching. Oh, just really quick. I just finally saw the Supergirl show recently, and I was watching it at my friend's house, and at the beginning shows the space pod that's supposed to go to Earth for Kara, and even that looked fake. And this is more recent. I mean, I get it's for television, lower budget, but still, it looks so fake.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it didn't seem so bad. It's a little.
I've heard it's not as good as Flash and Arrow. That's what I've heard, but it's okay.
Well, they're trying to appeal to a female demographic, so you're gonna see a lot of that. But I mean, it seemed okay. Like I said, I started out watching it, and then my friend started talking to me, and I stopped paying attention to it for a while, and I got to the end, and the fight at the end was pretty good, but all of a sudden, like, I see this guy here, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm Jimmy Olsen, and he's not like this nerdy, little white kid. It's like this like good-looking black man.
Yeah, I heard about this.
That's an interest. Yeah, it's an interesting spin on the character. I'm like, okay, I'd like to see where this goes.
Yeah, why not?
So yeah,
that's funny. Yeah. So okay, so here is my take on the prequels, since this may the whole show may just be one giant tangent. Yeah. We'll get to games eventually, I promise. Yeah. So Phantom Menace is an okay movie. And I'll admit that now, because when we went to go see that movie, everybody thought it was pretty awesome. Whether you hated Jar Jar or not, and I was fairly indifferent at the time. You thought it was awesome. The fighting was way better than anything we'd seen in the original trilogy. There was a lot of neat special effects used, although now that we look back on it, it is fairly overused. And so it was just kind of neat to see all these different locales and stuff. And then, of course, the pod racing scene, which everybody remembers. A lot of people kind of shit on it now, but we were all sitting there in the theater, like, swerving in our chairs, like, oh, it's like riding Star Tours. Like, we all thought it was awesome. And it still is pretty fun. It's a fun little scene. Again, it's one of those famous George Lucas detours. Like, it doesn't really add much to the story. Like, that whole 15, 20-minute sequence is all about getting Anakin his freedom, I guess. But, like, it takes a long time, and, like, we don't care that he gets his freedom or not for some reason. That's the big overarching problem with all three of those original trilogies. We just don't care about anybody. But
pretty much.
Yeah.
I forget what review I was watching. I want to say it was Doug Walker's review, and his brother had made an interesting point, which was that the first two movies were unnecessary.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of videos and stuff you can watch out there of how things could have or should have gone, and a lot of them make some really good points. There could have been so many different roads you could have gone with that exact same premise, just told differently. But still, I mean, for what it was, Phantom Menace was good. We all came out of it thinking, okay, like we all thought it was pretty fun. We didn't think it was a super great movie, but the only place they could go from here is up, right? Like, it's going to get better from here. I mean, Anakin's a little kid right now, and okay, he's got, probably 20 years to turn into Vader or whatever. It'll be fine.
Yeah. He was given a virgin birth.
Sure, like a lot of stuff we thought was ridiculous, but we let it go at the time because we thought it was going to get better.
Right, although I will say that I had a big problem with that virgin birth thing.
Oh, everybody did, and now it's one of the major strikes against the whole original trilogy is just midichlorians and all that stuff, but it's fine, whatever. And then the second movie comes out. Should have been better. Should have listened to all the criticisms of the first movie and improved on them. And instead, this is where I think George Lucas's brain started to kind of shatter. And he's like, you know what I'm gonna do instead of doing what the fans want, I'm gonna do what I want, which is exactly the opposite of what the fans want. And what they don't know is that they want the opposite of what they want, and so that's what I'm gonna give them. And just that movie is just bad. It is bad, and this is coming from somebody. I saw it twice in the theater, and it was so bad. But the first time, I remember there was this really drawn-out tiptoeing through the tulip scene with Anakin and what's-her-face that was cut out of the movie the second time I saw it. Because it was so poorly received.
Didn't you watch it in the IMAX?
I watched it once in IMAX, and I forget which one I saw first, but one of them had that scene completely cut out. And I remember thinking, thank God that's gone. And the whole movie was that, like just it's only because I love you so much. Can't you tell? Like, it was bad, and we all there's little itty bitty moments, like we all cheered when Yoda pulled out a lightsaber, even if the rest of that fight kind of turned out to be kind of ridiculous, but it was still Yoda with a lightsaber, which is something people had wanted to see.
Right.
But it was just, there's nothing memorable about that movie. I remember Natalie Portman being chained to a pillar and Yoda jumping around. That's all I remember. And that horrible scene with the flowers is just embedded in my brain, unfortunately. But like, that's all I remember of that movie. And so it was terrible. And by that point, all of our expectations have just gone down the toilet. And then so we're like, all right, let's just
it's like sand.
Let's just see how this goes. Like and we'll just, it's whatever. It is whatever. The third movie finally comes out, and at this point everybody's going just because we want to see what is the crux for Anakin that finally turns him. And when we get that, at least the third one had some really awesome fight scenes. Right. Which is where I kind of like, okay, this is at least a little bit better than the last one because there's more action, which is one thing that was severely missing in the second one. But then, like, it's like, okay, this is going okay. All right, this diner scene's weird, but whatever, this is going okay. And then the ending happens, and Anakin just goes from being, I'm all right, I'm just kind of troubled, to, yes, I'm evil. At the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I watched that. Like I mentioned, I watched it after I watched Force Awakens, and I was kind of paying attention to that, and I see what George Lucas was trying to do.
Oh, we can all see what he's trying to do. Just poor execution.
Right, exactly. He didn't execute it very well because you can see he's conflicted and he doesn't know what to do. But then, like, one moment he's like, what have I done? Okay, I'll join.
Yeah. It was literally...
Like, what have I done? Will you be Darth Vader? Yes.
and it wasn't like Phantom or even Attack of the Clones, where I kind of thought about it afterwards, like how things were stupid aside from that flower scene. That time was so bad. I remember being in the theater going, wait, what the that's it? He's just like, I'm bad now? And then and then from there, he turns bad, and it's just like rush. Okay, let's explain everything. Okay, he's bad. Okay, he kills a bunch of Jedi. Okay, now he gets all his shit ripped off. Okay, Luke and Leia are born. Okay, everybody's dead. Okay, go. That's the whole end of the movie. It's like that quick. And whoa. This is all really important stuff, and you're just going to fly over it?
Well, he focused too much on the love stuff, stuff he could have spanned on the second movie.
And, going back and thinking about it, like, George Lucas has never written a love story.
Right.
Ever. Anything he's had a hand in never really had a love story. The THX, no love story. American Graffiti, not really. The original trilogy, like Han and Leia's relationship, there was so much friction there that we enjoyed it. Can't really call that a love story. That's what we loved about it, was all the friction. Indiana Jones doesn't deal with that at all.
Right.
Indiana Jones is the James Bond of archaeology.
There's like love interests.
Yeah. It's not like he's not falling in love with anybody. I mean, he does at the end of the movie just to make a happy ending. But, we know that girl will be gone in the next movie.
Right, exactly. That's why I was surprised to see Marion in Crystal Skull.
Right? And so, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. Okay, going back to episode 3.
Do I have to?
Hey, I didn't get to speak on it.
All right, go ahead.
Except for the Grievous scene, but I mean, it went with what I started with. Yeah, the backgrounds look pretty. They look pretty dated at this point, which is kind of sad because that's supposed to be the movie. If the first two failed, that was the one that was supposed to do. And I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't like it. I actually thought it was done pretty well for,
It's okay.
That's considered,
It's okay.
Yeah, and it's better than the first two, but I mean, there's so many flaws with that one too. Again, he goes back to the whole dialogue. I remember my sister saying that where Anakin and Padme are talking, and they're like, "Oh, it's because you're so beautiful, only because I'm so in love." And my sister was like, "Oh, come on, just go, got your nose," because she was expecting that. And so there's that. Okay,
yeah.
And then there is the what was the big problem I had with it? The battle with Yoda and Palpatine. I thought that had so much potential, and then Yoda gets knocked down, and then it's like, failed. How'd you fail? You got knocked back. You got knocked back. How did you fail?
Yoda is actually, Yoda is one of those big overarching problems I had with the entire prequel trilogy, is that I was like, that's not Yoda. Even if it's Frank Oz, there's something about him is not Yoda.
It's a CG.
Well, he was originally a puppet in Phantom Menace, and then they changed it later. And even as a puppet, there was something not Yoda about him. And it wasn't until, I started watching the Clone Wars with the kids. So far, the Clone Wars is the only thing dealing with the prequels that I've allowed them to watch. So my kids have not seen the original prequels, although they're starting to hound me, and I'm like, let's not. You can watch them when you're older, so that you can understand why they're so bad, and why your dad did not want to show them
child abuse.
Yeah, seriously, I don't want to get a phone call or that knock on the door.
It's like, okay, we'll show you Phantom Menace on CBS.
So have you ever watched it, the Clone Wars?
I started watching. I actually watched the movie.
Okay, no, not that one though. The actual series, the six season series.
That was the movie was supposed to originally be a.
But I've heard it was really bad, and so I just skipped it.
I don't think it was that bad actually, because I watched it here recently also, and it introduced Ahsoka. What's her name? Ahsoka. Yeah. And it wasn't a bad plot, I think. And then I've seen a couple, like 1 or 2 episodes, but I stopped because I found out that the show isn't what do you call it? Chronological. It's like an anthology.
Oh, yeah. It skips around.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I've kind of gotten used to shows that are more chronological, so I'm like, okay, how do I watch this? Because I kind of want to watch The Return of Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah, that comes later.
Right.
So in that first episode, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan aren't even in it. Like, the whole episode is a Yoda episode.
Yeah, that's right, I remember that. Then aren't they dealing with, like, a bunch of those
Watto guys, yeah. They're on the Watto
Anakin
planet.
Kidnapper.
Yeah. They're like, the Inquisitor, the female Inquisitor, I forget what her name is. She's trying to keep him from having a meeting with the Wattos. I don't know.
Right.
It's that part of the story is dumb. Anyways, but it's very focused on Yoda. Anakin and Obi-Wan aren't in it at all. And
right, I remember that.
In that episode, he's very, very the Yoda I know. Even though I can't stand the voice, I don't think I'll ever accept any other voice other than old Frank Oz doing Yoda. Everybody else just sounds like people doing a Yoda impression, which is very bad, and we all do a bad Yoda impression. That's pretty much what it sounds like. But it's it's fine. Other people accept it. It's cool, whatever. So I'll leave it at that. But in that episode, there are times when he brings out that really quirky, senile, strange old Yoda sense of humor. And I was like, that's it. That's what was missing. Is all the stuff that makes him so likable in Empire Strikes Back is the fact that he's so quirky and weird and doing all this weird stuff, like pulling out flashlight out of his bag and going and stuff like that. Yeah. All of that is missing. Like, he is completely humorless Yoda. Like, apparently back in the day, Yoda just did not have a sense of humor. He did not understand comedy, and he didn't want anything to do with anything that would make people smile. He just wanted to sit in this chair, tell people that, you know what, I don't want to train this kid because he's going to be bad, and have people not listen to him.
Well, maybe it's what led him to have that kind of attitude, He was a serious guy, then he spends how many years in, what is it called? What's the planet called? Dagobah. And that's what makes him all crazy. But then if he's acting like that in the Clone Wars, then that doesn't make sense.
Some people did try and write it off as that's just him trying to hide who he is so that he doesn't get found out. But yeah, the Clone Wars, at least according to the new chronology, is canon. So he did apparently have a little bit of that in him. And all that is missing from the movies is just him going, hate leads to fear, leads to suffering. It sounds more like Fozzie doing a Yoda impression.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. What about, have you seen Star Wars Rebel?
I have not. I don't get Disney XD.
Oh, okay. I actually watched that, and unfortunately I think they took all of the first season off on demand. I started watching it. I actually really enjoyed it, and I wanted to keep watching more, but with the living situation I have, it's really difficult to watch it. But I was reading more about it, and it does tie into Clone Wars too. Of course, it's canon.
It does. I've heard Ahsoka comes back.
Yeah, Ahsoka comes back, and Darth Vader is, the main antagonist.
Yeah. Which I've been wanting to see.
By the end of spoiler, I think, by the way, because I think that was supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, I don't know. People have heard about it. I heard it's James Earl Jones doing his voice too, which is awesome.
I was watching. I had been watching something where they said that they would not have included Darth Vader if James Earl Jones did not provide the voice. That too. And I think that's pretty freaking awesome.
See, that's the good thing is that Disney is really good about kind of letting people who are fans of a thing try and do it, which is why I think Force Awakens has done so well, is that J.J. Abrams was a fan, and he knows what makes a good Star Wars movie. He knows what made the original trilogy so endearing, and so he stuck to that. And I remember watching people online just giving him shit for like, oh, he's filming with his old camera, oh, he's using practical effects, why don't we just go back to silent movies and stuff like that. It's like you just don't you don't get it. Like, the guy's doing it out of passion for the thing, not out of just trying to control its destiny, which is what George Lucas started to do. This came up today where my kid literally asked me, how come at the end of Jedi, when Anakin's ghost comes back, it's young Anakin? And I'm like, no. It's not young Anakin.
Yeah, that part never made sense to me. I was just like,
I had to explain to him. I was like, look, man, George Lucas lost his mind, and for some reason he felt the old Vader that was there shouldn't be there, and now it's young Anakin instead, even though he died as an old man, so his ghost would look like an old man. I don't, son, that's not the way it is. I will show you the way it's supposed to be in a few days, because so my wife actually went with me to see Force Awakens with all of us. We went as a family, and she really liked it a lot. Really? She has never seen any of the original trilogies. Like, she wants to go see it again. She really liked it. So now I'm catching her up on the old movies. So I'm like, son, we'll watch Return of the Jedi again soon to catch her up. You will see it's old man Anakin in there, not Christian, what? No, it's not even Christian. Whatever. Hayden Christensen. Oh, God, it was close. Unfortunately. Yeah. He's like, he's just confusing people. But Abrams, and now, of course, the new criticism is that it's too much like just a copy of A New Hope. And it's kind of like,
Jesus.
Yes, that's exactly what it needed to be.
Exactly. I mean, you're reintroducing the audience to Star
and
Wars.
You're a brand new company who just bought this property, who everybody, is always putting out the obligatory, oh, here's a picture of Mickey flying a TIE fighter thing. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, they're going to show you that they know how to do Star Wars. Never mind the fact that they have been dealing with Star Wars since 1988 when they opened Star Tours, which was far more Star Wars than any of the prequels ever could be. And that didn't even have any lightsabers in it. So Disney already kind of knows Star Wars. Like, they're not going to do... Like, they didn't do that with the Avengers, and yet when they bought Lucasfilm, here came the same old things. Like, oh, Disney's going to Disney it up, and Leia's going to be the next princess, and blah, 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 blah. Like they're going to kitty it up. And this Star Wars had more blood in it than any of the previous 6 movies ever did. Limb dismemberment and all. Like, it was very well done for what it needed to be. Now, like a lot of other people have said, if the next couple movies are just a rehash of old stories that we've seen, then we got a problem.
Right, but
I don't think they're going to do that.
Right, in this movie, I saw a little bit of all 3 original movies in
Me
there.
too.
You know, the basic storyline, okay. I saw a little bit of Empire in there. Saw a little bit of Return of the Jedi in there. With the what was that planet called where they went to the cantina over there?
Oh, that's I just know it's Moss's palace.
Right. That reminded me of Return of the Jedi because a forest-like area and
it had a real Endor feel to it.
Kind of that. Right, and then of course, Empire was that whole scene where Han, spoiler, where Han is killed by Kylo Ren, and of course the general overall story of the original Star Wars, I saw that in there, but they tried to put all these little twists in there and whatnot. And so, and the movie wasn't perfect, but it certainly overshadows the the prequel trilogy. Yeah, I keep wanting to say original trilogy,
it's hard. No, it's weird to say. It's the parts 1, 2, and 3. It's so I imagine. So I don't know if people know this or not, but ever since this movie came out, like, George Lucas has said a couple of stupid things. Not going to repeat them. Not going to deal with it. But he just had so much control over the prequel trilogy, and like nobody would say no to him about anything, which was a huge problem for what happened. That it just like he can't not be the guy that's in charge of Star Wars anymore. And I just imagine him going to see this movie and experiencing the reactions of the audience around him, just everybody loving it and wooing and clapping. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing. And screw those prequels and all that stuff. Imagine him going home. And he pulls out his old prequel trilogy action figures onto his desk, and he starts recreating the scenes. You guys aren't all that bad, are you? No, Misa gonna be with you forever. It's funny. And he's like, da, 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 da. And he starts crying. He starts throwing his toys all around the room. That was George Lucas's reaction to seeing Star Wars 7.
Yeah, well, and we talked about this briefly the other day, but I honestly, this goes against everything I stand for, but it's fair game. George Lucas sold the rights to Disney. They now have the rights. Go back and fix the prequel trilogy.
God, I wonder how you could do that without totally refilming parts of it.
Oh, like I said, my whole thought goes to what was that? Tron Legacy, and who was it? Jeff Bridges? Who was in the movie?
You want to de-age everybody?
You could de-age them, and I mean, if they did it in Tron, why not in this movie? You know, I think about the only one that would be impossible to do that to is Anakin. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but you know they can make it to where Darth Vader starts going no, and you know,
I would totally.
That's a simple audio fix. Out. Yeah, I would just change that to him screaming.
I actually, when my kids, because again, they're hounding me to watch the prequels just because they're so into Star Wars right now. And I'm like, look, here, we just saw Force Awakens. Here's a big reason why those prequels are bad and why Disney did a much better version in such a short span amount of time. Anytime Kylo Ren gets pissed, he starts tearing shit up because he's so mad with his lightsaber. Like the littlest thing sets him off.
Right.
Darth Vader finds out that the love of his life is dead. And all he does is, you know, try and go Super Saiyajin and yell no.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
And that's it. That's it. Your movie's done. Hooray.
I remember seeing that in the theater. I remember seeing that in the theater and everybody just laughing their ass off.
Yeah, like our expectations were gone. We're like, okay, just finish it already. Just please, just finish it and let us know what's going on, and it's fine. We're cool now. It's all right. Oh man.
So yeah, that pretty much covers our whole Star Wars experience.
Are we off the Star Wars tangent of what's mostly become a Star Wars episode?
Pretty much. I think we can go into the final topic for tonight if there's time.
Is that what are we doing what we planned on doing?
Konami Part 2?
Konami. The Conundrum.
There you go.
I made that up.
Konami Part 2, Take 2.
The Conundrum.
The Conundrum.
Yeah. So, some listeners, if you actually, started from the beginning, probably remember one of our first episodes, if not our first one, was a retrospective of the company Konami, which